Okay, so once we have the grade book set up, the next step is to create our quizzes or the grade items that will fall within the category, the continuous assessment category, and also semester category. So this is an example of a quiz is an example of a grade item. The category is where the grade item will fall within. So the next thing is to navigate to the course dashboard itself. So once we are in the course dashboard, then we'll click on turn editing on. And this will turn editing on for us to add an activity or a resource into our course. So this time we want to create an examination. So I'll click on add an activity or resource. Now look out for an activity called maybe gradebook, an activity called quiz. And as you can see, this interface is a little different. This is the upgrade that I talked about that happened over the weekend. So you click on the quiz. So it's a quiz that we want to set up. Once we have the quiz clicked on, then we can create it. So I'll probably call this one second semester examination. All right, so this will hold the second semester examination for the 2019-2020 academic year. You can put any description that you want in here. So for now, this is the default that I'm going to use. And the timing is the time that the quiz will be set up. So we'll click on enable. Assuming we want the quiz to start at 5 o'clock, we'll select 5 o'clock for it. And if it's to end at 6 p.m., we'll also select 6 p.m. So with this, we have about 1 hour quiz. I'll probably make it a 40 minutes or 50 minutes quiz. So the students have a 10 minutes window in case or in situations where they are late for within that time. They still have the 50 minutes to finish up the exam. Now this is very important, when the time expires. So while the student is working, if the student is timed out, we would want to maintain this open attempt as submitted automatically so that the system will still hold the value or the answers that the student has filled when he was timed out. Now at the grade section, because we want to use as an examination, I will select second semester examination. The grades to pass, and again, we will be using 60 and 40. And here is a case we are working on the 60 aspect. So I would advise we omit this one. And the attempt allowed. The number of times the student, when he logs on, can do this particular quiz or examination is a one time. If you want the students to take this quiz as many times as possible, you can select the number of times the student can take. All right, but this is an examination, so we would use one attempt. The layout, we would want every question probably on every page or in a new page. So we'll maintain what we have. The question behavior, we also will maintain what we have. The review options, because it's an exam and it has not been approved by academic board yet, our advice we uncheck all of these so that the student would not see the examination mark right after filling or answering the MCQ kind of question. So once all these are unchecked, we can proceed to the next one, which is appearance. We can maintain it. Now, the upgrade has brought up something nice. I think it's giving us a new feature that is going to enhance the examination platform for the students, the examination that we are creating for the students. Why do I say this? This option is going to blur out all applications, stop copy and paste, and many other things when the student is taking the exam. So when we are setting the examination, we would have to select any of these available. I'm going to bring out a video tutorial on how to set up this one, the Safe Exam Browser, how to use it. But for now, we are going to use I'll bring a video on this one, maybe right after the questions and setting. Right. So the restriction, as I said the last time, we can use full JavaScript to also give it some sort of security. But this goes beyond this one. So when the tutorial that I will talk about on the Safe Exam will expand on most of these things. Apart from that, we're going to maintain everything that we have here and save and return to this particular course. Okay, now that we have the examination activity or resource created, the next thing is to load the examination questions into the examination activity. So in doing so, I'll click on the second semester examination. And as you can see here, from the settings that we did earlier, the user has only one attempt to write this exam or quiz. And they're supposed to complete it within a 15-minute window. And the time to start is on Monday, 17th of August 2020, probably at 6 p.m. That is what is set here. Okay. So from here, the next thing is to edit the quiz. By clicking on this, we get a chance to load questions into this particular quiz or second semester examination. So I'll click on Edit Quiz. And this gives me the chance to add a new question from a new question, load from a question bank or a random question. At the moment, I don't have any question in the system. So from what I said earlier on, from the training, from the objective of this workshop, what I said was we're going to create a multiple choice question and also create one question at a time. So we'll begin by creating one question at a time. So what I'm going to do from here is to click on New Question. And this gives you the chance to select any type of question that you want to include in your quiz or examination. So I'm going to create a multiple choice question, just one multiple choice question. I'll click on Add. Okay, so I have a list of questions in here, 5 different questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of which I would want to use one of them and put in here as an MCQ kind of question for this particular example. So from here, from the objective, I stated that we're going to create a multiple choice question by creating one question at a time. So assuming you have a list of multiple questions, like this one, we have free cost of repair, whatever. This is just one question. This is another question. If you want to add it one at a time, we're just going to learn how to create set questions one at a time in the VLE. All right, so this is what we're doing. So I'm going to answer this question. So from here, you can see that we are asked to enter the question name. Our advice is copy the question, the whole of the question, and paste it in here as the question name. And the reason is it makes it for easy identification. You can as well just type question 1 over here as the name as the question name. But I always prefer using the question itself as the question name for easy identification. Now at the question text, the next thing is to type this question itself. That is the text of that particular question. So the next thing to fill in here is the default mark. What mark will be given to this particular question that we are setting up? We want to give it a mark of 1. If we have any feedback that we want to give to students to wake up, we can type those feedback in here. Those are optional. The ID number, we can enter all those things. Now, in situations where we want the students to make a selection of maybe the 2 answers that fit maybe this particular question, or if a question needs maybe 2 or more answers, we can choose multiple answers allowed over here. So in that case, the students has the chance to choose version and probably tutorial as the answer for this particular question. But since we want to use as a multiple choice question and we don't want the students to answer choose 2 answers for this particular question, we will still maintain the only 1 answer only for this. We'll maintain what is already there. Now you can see that we have the chance to also shuffle the choices. You can uncheck it. So if we can as well do this at the question section when we load it into the quiz. But for now, we are going to maintain what we have here. The number of choices, we have A, B, C. We are going to maintain what is there, because from here we have the options A, B, C, D, and the rest. Now the next thing is to show standard instruction. Of course, if you want to know more about this, you can just click on this and read more about it, whether to show the instructions, select 1 or select multiple choice. If you want the student to know that, make a choice of maybe 2, you can, for them to know that there's a multiple answer question, you can give it to them. You can say yes to this, but this is not, so we're going to maintain the default over here, which is no. Now it says for the answers, there are by default 5 different choices that the students can choose from. But from our question, we have just 4. So we will maintain, we will just fill out the 4 possible answers to this question. So the first one is version. I'll copy version and I'll paste it here as the first choice. The second one is add-on. So I'll copy add-on as the second choice and paste it here. And of course, the grade still remains none, mainly because these are not the answer to this particular question. The next one is tutorial. I'll copy tutorial and paste it here as the test choice, and finally patch as the final choice. Now patch is the answer from this particular question, which is D. So at the grade section, what we're going to do is to drop down this and grade it as 100%. And we should be mindful that from the top here, we've already set out the default mark to be 1. So if the grade is 100%, so it means patch would have a mark of 1 at the end of the day when this question is answered correctly. And also, when we have for multiple answers allowed, then assuming version is also an answer to this question, then we can say maybe if a student selects version, it's 50%. And if a student selects patch 2, it's also going to be 50%. So this makes it easier to do the computation. So in this case, patch is 0.5, and also the version is also 0.5. So I'm going to maintain none for this because this is not a multiple select answer choice. And from here, I'm going to make it 100% since the answer is patch. When I'm done, the next thing is to save changes. But in situations where we have a lot of choices, a lot of choices to make, then we can click on blank for 3 more choices. But so in that case, we'll have 3 more choices added to the 5 that we already have, making 8. But this question has just 4, so I'll just save this one. And now we are done setting up the question setting up this particular question in the quiz. So I'm going to delete this one because we already have that question created. And now we have 4 more questions. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more questions to load as a second choice to this. 4 more questions to load into the system as a multiple choice question. Alright, so we are done with the creation of one question at a time in situation where you want to create the question yourself. So now let's go to the second one, which is the upload bulk question. Alright, so these are the bulk questions that we have that we are going to load into the system. So as I said, before you begin doing the upload of bulk question, you have to make sure you conform to the format, conform to the right format in the creation of the bulk question. So you start with a question name, the first choice, which is A, full stop, space, and the name and the answer to the question. The second one, B, full stop, and the question. And at the bottom, you have answer, colon, space. You make the choice of the right answer. Okay, so now let's load this question into the question bank. Alright, so I'll go back again to the second semester examination, and I'll click on the gear icon, and at the bottom I'll go to question bank. So at the question bank, I get the chance to import a question into the system. So first of all, I'm going to create a category over here to load this type of question. What you have here might be different from what you are seeing. What I have here might be different from what you are seeing. So from here, I'm going to create maybe MCQ. You don't need to do this, but in a situation where you probably would have maybe 3 quizzes in the semester, you can create an MCQ category for each of those quizzes, and you can call those questions in that. You can call the questions in that particular category into the quiz when we are setting it up to make it easier, knowing where it's quiz question for. So in this case, I have MCQs, maybe examination, possibly. It could be quiz 1 quiz 1 category. So this is going to hold all MCQs examination questions for bulk upload. Alright, so I'll add this particular category. So by default, you can see this falls under the MCQ, the default MCQ course itself. I have it listed. The MCQ category falls under this one. All right, so I'm going to load the MCQ into this particular MCQ examination category. So I'll click on import and make a selection of the icon format. So I'll select this one and scroll down to general. Now, where do we want to upload this content into? We want to load it into MCQ examination. So that makes it easier for the questions we will load to go straight to the MCQ examination. Apart from that, we will maintain what we have there. Then we'll make a choice, or we select where the file is. So we choose, we browse to it. This is MCQ, so I'll select MCQ and I'll upload. So we have it here. You can also locate the folder anywhere and also drag it into this section without having to click on choose. So I'll click on import. So there were 5 questions. We've created one manually, and now we are importing 4 more questions from the file. So these are the questions. So I'll click on continue. And this brings out all the questions that are available for this category in the question bank. So we've now loaded our MCQ questions into the respective categories, the MCQ examination questions. And we are told from here that there are 4 questions in there. Now the next thing is to add the uploaded MCQ into our quiz. So I'll go back again to the second semester examination. And from here, I'll drop down the gear icon. Initially, we had an edit here, but now we are not seeing it. So I'll drop it down and select edit quiz from here. So we have our first question in there. Now we want to upload the new question from the question bank. So I'll click on from question bank, and this brings out the questions that are in the question bank. So this is, we loaded it into the MCQ examination question. So we have it in there, and these are the 4 questions that we have. So I'm going to select all, and I'll say add selected questions to the quiz. All right, so at the moment, our quiz has 5 questions for students to answer. So you can see from our objectives that we've covered the creation of multiple choice question by creating one question and also uploading more question into the bulk into the quiz. And the next thing that I would want to do is to create a fill in the blank question. Thank you very much.